Valda Carell and her 1954 Austin are inseparable.
I sure love driving it.
The 90-something-year-old won't tell us her exact age.
It's something I never tell anybody, only the doctor.
But she's been behind the wheel for more than 5 decades in a car she regards as a member of the family.
People have often said, why don't you sell and get another one? I said, sell her. I said, she couldn't sell her. She's my part of me.
Her beloved vehicle takes her to the local Meals on Wheels kitchen, where she volunteers.
You can have the little one and I'll have the big one, Velda.
Partnering up with a friend to deliver food to those in need. It's a highlight of her month.
It's so nice going to all the different houses and meeting the different people.
She regularly visits her doctor, who gives her the green light to keep driving.
Let's go, Velda.
Right. It's very good because, you know, you're perfectly fit to drive. I wouldn't want to drive if they didn't think I was fit to drive.
Emergency crews were called to the Brooks.
But a recent spate of accidents has once again shone a spotlight on older drivers.
Police say the 85-year-old victim got out of a four-wheel drive to direct her husband into a parking space when she was run over by their vehicle.
The 86-year-old was killed in what police have called a tragic and distressing accident.
A woman in her 80s who was trapped for 7 hours in the wreckage of her car is being treated in hospital. She'd been trying to park, but her car careered down a 20-metre embankment.
The Queensland Government tightened the medical requirements just last year. All drivers over the age of 75 must hold a current medical certificate. It's valid for a maximum 1 year. Without it, drivers risk a fine of at least $2,000. But for Marilyn Field, it's not nearly enough.
Do you want a Milo?
Yes, please.
In July 2012, she was walking along a footpath with her grandchildren when she was hit by a car.
And I can remember it very clearly being thrown up and hitting the ground. My teeth were a bit smashed. But I knew I couldn't move that leg. It was just too painful.
Her knee will never fully heal.
I've had to move houses because I had stairs on the last house and I got to the stage I couldn't do them. All of our bathrooms are wheelchair access, all our doorways. In the showers I've got holding rails.
The driver of the car was a man in his 80s.
He made a mistake, obviously didn't intend to do that, but I just don't think he should have been driving.
It's only around about 2% of crashes involve people over the age of 75, so it's actually quite small.
But those over 75 are considered most at fault in 80% of the crashes they're involved in. And because older people tend to be more frail, the consequences are often dire.
Older people are more likely to be involved in fatal crashes. Usually the person who's killed in that crash is the older person themselves.
Research indicates speed and alcohol are more likely factors in crashes involving young people. For older drivers, it tends to be an error of judgment. Things like mistiming when it's safe to merge lanes or turn in front of oncoming traffic.
I just think the government is too slack. They should make them, after they're 70, do driving tests.
Is there any evidence that a driving test would be beneficial?
Unfortunately, no. And again, this is the kind of scheme that's been introduced in many places around the world at different times.
Dr Mark King from the Centre for Accident Research and Road Safety prefers the medical approach, but concedes it's not foolproof.
You have always got the problem of doctor shopping, I guess. We have been told about that, but we're not aware that it is a major issue.
In actual fact, at the moment, if the doctor says you shouldn't drive or doesn't issue a medical certificate, you can still walk out and drive home because there's no mechanism to ensure that the driver passes that on to transport. We're relying on you to do the right thing.
Road safety authorities say better signage and less complicated roads would help. And it's not an issue that's going to go away. Within a century, 15% of Australia's population is expected to be over 75. That's triple what it is now. But by then, technology may have provided a few solutions.
As cars become more and more automated, we will face in the very relatively near future a situation where self-driven cars will make mobility really possible for those people who can't drive anymore.
The infrared vision started to appear in vehicles some years ago, but only the high-end ones, and it's becoming more common. So I expect that these things will roll out very quickly. One of the issues is the degree to which older people are prepared to rely on them, and that is, I guess, where we have a generational problem.
Until then, they're advocating a bit more understanding between road users.
It's important that they're not demonised, because in actual fact, older drivers generally self-manage their driving very well. As they get older, they drive less. They tend to only drive during the day. They don't drive when it's raining.
Valda Carell is already dreading the day she has to stop.
She's so lovely to drive. I love her.